So today we're going to be going over the $13,000 profit with the FTMO account for the month of September, and then we'll also be getting into how I set my support, my resistance, and my supply and demand zones when marking up charts. So let's go ahead and get into it. Tap in. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Joshua Malloy over at Global Cap FX. Just wanted to tap in. It's about to be the end of September, so I hope you guys are having a prosperous month and you're hitting your goals. And if you haven't hit them yet, you still have a week left. So let's lock in mentally, and I hope you guys hit them. I wanted to give you guys a quick update before we go into the support and resistance part of the video. This month came a lot of challenges, right? Aside from work breathing down my neck, because I do work a 9 to 5 job still. My wife and I got sick twice, both times negative on the COVID test, thankfully. So energy was low for like a week and a half, man. So like combined with work and not feeling well and just wanting to really provide a solid service and platform for you, there were a lot of challenges that arose and presented themselves while I was trying to provide that service, while I was trying to focus on my FTMO trading, right? And I just wanna let y'all know, man, like everybody has those days where, shit's trying to pull you back. But it's very, very important to really set your day straight from the very beginning and put yourself in the right frame of mind so that you can lock in on what's important. Because you might have people that are counting on you. You might have goals that you really are passionate about and you want to hit, and you owe to yourself to really every single day put yourself in the right frame of mind so that you can go at it 110%. So this month, I was able to lock in, right? Despite getting sick, despite having work breathing down my neck, and all that stuff, I was able to secure $13,200 in profit with the FTMO account to split between us. So I'm very thankful for that. And I also just want to be able to provide that service in return, man. Like there's so much money out there that can be made, and if one of you guys are not getting a piece of that pie, I feel like it's my job to educate you as much as I can to the most of my abilities to see if I can be a positive impact on you and your trading strategy and your ability to collect a bag. Because in the forex industry, let's just face it, right? There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of uncertainty, and there are a lot of goofballs out there that say that they can teach you, right? But a lot of those teachers don't know that there's 3 ways to educate people. And if you're not if you're not teaching somebody based off their strengths of learning, then they're not going to learn. And that means that they're not going to get a good return on their investment. And here at Global Cap FX, it's our duty and our obligation to provide that platform of knowledge so that that uncertainty can disappear. It's our job to provide exceptional services and resources to you so that you can propel your goals forward. So let's go ahead and tap in and lock in on one of these pairs. All right, let's get it. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and tap in. We're gonna go ahead and go over USD CAD. USD CAD is one of the pairs that I secured bags on this month. So we're gonna go ahead and focus on this one. Okay. Now, what I like to do is I like to keep my charts very simple. I like to keep them very clean, very sexy, not too much noise on the chart, or else I can't read it, right? There's just a whole bunch of confusion, and sometimes when you're using all of these tools, some of them will contradict. Like if you feel like, you use a trend line, right? A trend line, and then let's say you use a fib. First, this says buy, right? It's in an uptrend. But because of the fib tool says sell. So like there's a whole bunch of things that could potentially happen because at the end of the day, when you're trading, it's about being objective with the market. I mentioned this on another one of my videos. When you're objective, it means that you're open to what the market is giving you. You're not subjective or you're not decisive on what you feel the market is going to do. you're open and you're looking at the market and seeing what it gives you, and then you're riding its wave. So uh, yeah, like when you're using all of these tools, it can get very, very confusing. So let me show you what I like to use, and then maybe you can find a way to implement it into your own strategy and maybe simplify it if you need to. Simplify your strategy. So the first thing that I like to do is I'll use this horizontal ray, okay? And let's go ahead. We're in the daily time frame, which is one of my favorite time frames that I prefer to use. And I will find the highest point of price. Now, in my opinion, it'll be right here. Now, the reason why I put that is because on the downside, you had like a wick here, and then you had like your lowest possible wick right here. And throughout this whole area, there was just a whole bunch of trouble breaking through this level. And then once price broke below it, this is where you start paying attention to the wicks, right? Uh, so I put this wick based off this candle here because it touches this last wick over here, and then it's also really just the last form of like correction before descending down. This candle didn't really have strong wicks on the end, so I don't really see correction in that candle. Like if I was to go and specifically look at that candle and looked at it in the 1 hour, I don't see too many I don't see too many corrections coming back up to the upside. But with this candle and then this candle, there's a whole bunch of resistance here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that as my resistance. And then as you look left, you can see that price again had trouble breaking through and tapped this area of 129, almost 500. Yeah, just about 500. All right, so now that we got that taken care of, let's go ahead and go to the most immediate price and try to find a consistent level of support. And again, it's about locating wicks. When it comes to support and resistance, I like to focus on the highest support and resistance. Focus on the highest and lowest price points. Okay. Write that down. If you guys are note takers and you like to be hands-on, write the shit down, right? If yeah, it's important like when you learn anything, whether it's forex or anything else, it's important to understand what your best mode of learning is. Are you a person who just likes the audio, likes listening? Are you somebody uh who likes to see a visual, like me sharing my chart? Or are you somebody who likes to listen, watch, and then be hands-on? So as you're watching this, you have your chart on the side and you're following along by doing it as well. What type of trader are you? Like, what type of learner are you? Excuse me. What type of learner do you see yourself as? So if you're somebody who wants to be hands-on, take that note down, man. Focus on the highest and lowest price points. That's how you locate support and resistance. So now let's find support. In my opinion, I think this right here would be our level of support right there. That's our lowest possible point of support where price bounced multiple times and then went back up to the upside. Here, 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 right? So that's support. I'll locate another one. Again, you're locating the lowest point where price where price had trouble breaking through the price point. So I would say this is our lowest point. And then we actually had a second tap right here before going to the upside. So that's another level of support. And then you can do this all day long, guys. When it comes to locating support and resistance, which I feel is the staple of being able to trade profitably, is locating support and resistance. The way that you do it is just with repetition, locating multiple support and resistance points. So let me go ahead and go back, take another look. Let me see what I can find. Let me zoom into this area here, right here. I'm gonna zoom into that. So and then another thing that you can do is when you're locating support and resistance, what used to be support, when it breaks through support, it is now resistance. So when you're locating areas that could potentially be, in this case, a resistance line, look for it to line up with something that made it like it used to be a support line. So drag it to the left a little bit more and see what you can find. Now, okay, I don't see anything too solid on price point resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Use this as my resistance line. Again, that's like the highest point that didn't get broken through, right? So we're paying attention to that. I'll do that one instead because we're looking for the highest points, not something in between, the highest points. Supply and demand is where you get a little bit better when it comes to finding your entries, but I'll get to that in a second. So as you can see, tap here, see it used to be a support and then it broke through, tapped again here, went down, came back up, tapped here. This is the resistance level, resistance price point right there. Okay, boom. Let's see if I can find another one. All right, let's take a look at this here. Let's take a look at this whole region here. So I see this crazy ass wick down here. And then I see a wick before that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my support line right here. This is my support line. Furthest point of support. And then as you can see, when price eventually came back down to this area, this is where it did its largest move. Now, of course, when it came into this area, this zone, if you will, every time it came here, it did go up. It made some nice, made some nice pips. This right here, 360. This right here, 260. This right here, 250. Now, support is just one aspect of being able to mark up a chart. Again, those are like your furthest points, your highest and your lowest points of where price will go to and then reverse. Those are the absolute highest and lowest points. Now, when it comes to support and supply and demand, those are the areas where price action actually takes place, and that's where price is actually in movement, in motion, and that's where you collect your money. Now, a lot of the time, sometimes we'll kind of like this support area, price will tap here, and then it'll come back up into like this random area where this box is here, and it'll just float. It'll just float in here for a minute, and then it'll finally take off. So when you see areas like that and you see price eventually come back into it, understand that this is a demand zone. This is where a lot of trades uh, institutionally get collected. Obviously the large banks and institutions, they have their, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars invested into the foreign exchange market. Um, but when you're a retail trader, you have to understand that in these areas is where the market likes to fake you out. And you can't get faked out. Okay, you have to be patient. Again, being objective about the market is how you win. You can't try to, predict the market based off no evidence. You can't just say, oh, it's a buy, just because, your technical analysis has been spot on for the last 2 hours. Like you have to be objective. You have to collect evidence, collect confirmations. And when you have confirmations like this, where you have a whole bunch of wicks, you have a whole bunch of wicks in here, like that, like that. Here, you had an impulse candle or an engulfing candle. Price came above it and then gave you a nice retest. Gave you a nice retest with this wick right here, and then came back up. Delete that. And then here as well, you had weakness. Like price price had strong momentum going back down here, right? And then as you can see, candles started getting a little smaller, smaller, smaller. Uh, and then you see this hammer candle right here. You have a morning star right here, and then you have a an engulfing candle or an impulse candle right here. This larger one here, and then followed by that, you have another strong candle to the upside. And then you have a small correction with these candles going down slightly like this, giving us a retest of this area right here. And then you continued up. And then, as I said, price sometimes will come down to your most immediate level of support, not your immediate, your lowest, your ultimate, your absolute level of support in this wick. Tap it here, and then it'll make its way up. Let's find another one. Let's start to look for supply and demand zones now. Supply and demand zones are areas in the market. They're areas. When it comes to support and resistance, those are like price points, right? Those are price points in the market where price cannot break through the highest or the lowest point. Uh, but a lot of the time, when it comes to retesting and coming back up to those ultimate highs and ultimate lows, it doesn't happen too often. But price will come into zones, which you call supply and demand zones, where a lot of wicks take place, a lot of collection of trades before going in its motion. So take a look at here. So you have our support line, but on the supply side of things, the supply zone, you can see that there was some collection of trades here. You can probably see objectively that, with this, let's say that this candle right here was still active and it just gave you a sharp move down like this, you would probably think it's still going down on a sell. But on the contrary, no, it wasn't. It came back up to the upside. So let's drag this area across. And again, we're looking for an area where a lot of trades are being collected. There are a lot of wicks present on candles. And this is where you would find your opportunity to get into the market. And then what I like to do is if I were to get into this trade right here, I would get in, and then I would set my stop loss above my most highest point of resistance. And then I would set my target probably based off this area here, and I would collect. That's a 2.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Okay, let's find another one. So you have this ultimate level right here. You have the strong candle rejection right there, and then in between you have this candle that tried to create more momentum to the upside, the very next candle, and then the next one gave you a candle rejection. So you can see that this general area right here is a place where a lot of trades are being collected. If I went to we're in the daily right now. If I went to the 1 hour on this, you probably see some wicks. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Don't do that. Okay, there it is. See? And I usually will not put my supply I won't mark my supply and demand zones on the daily. I would mark it in the 1 hour or the 4 hour. When it comes to support and resistance, I'll do daily so that I can get a wide bird's eye view of where the market is going. But when it comes to supply and demand, let me see. All right. Support SNR. SNR mark up in the daily. Supply and demand. Mark up in 1H or 4H. All right, so let's go ahead and focus this here a little bit. So you have your ultimate candle, your ultimate high right there. And then followed by that candle, you have a rejection candle completely engulfed the previous candle with the wick. Just said off, right? And engulfed it. So I'm going to pay attention to that area right here as an area of supply. And then if I drag this all the way out, I'm going to go ahead and just put my coordinates to 2000. So it goes all the way to the right. And then I'm going to zoom out and see if there's other areas where price came up into this supply area and then reversed. Let's see. Oh, what do you know? See? Boom. Drag it across. And then what do you freaking know, guys? Look at that. Look at all those wicks. You had a wick on this side, wick on this side. You had a candle that tried to break out, and then the next candle was a rejection candle. So that means that these wicks right here are still in play. And they have more wicks, and then boom, gone. That is a supply zone. A supply zone is where trades are collected. There are a lot of wicks. Oops. supply zone. Oops. Areas in price where trades are collected. There are usually plenty of wicks on candles. Can't spell. This is where you will look for engulfing candles as another confirmation to get in. I didn't finish my sentence. There are areas in price where trades are collected to prepare for a sell-off. And then on the flip side, copy. Jeez, struggling. On the flip side, on the bottom, demand zone. Demand zone are areas in price where trades are collected to prepare for a buy or long position. Again, you would look for plenty of wicks. You would find plenty of rejections, candle rejections, engulfing candles. So that's where you would find in demand zones. Let me try and find a demand zone for you. All right, so I would naturally, I don't even have to see the whole candle, but I would naturally mark this as my support price level. So a specific price point, which is the lowest point. And then from there, I'm going to locate a demand zone. So I'm going to take my box, and then I'm going to mark off an area where a lot of trades are collected, and then you finally have a push to the upside. So I'm going to again mark my coordinates for 2000, so it goes all the way to the right. And then let's see. What do you know? Demand zone, right? Trades are collected. See all these trades? A lot of people probably thought it was going to continue on a sell. But if you locate your support line, you'll understand the lowest point of where price has to break through in order for it to be an actual sell. But until then, you're not getting into a trade until it breaks below this line, right? Because that's your ultimate low. But if it's floating around in this area, in this zone where there has been plenty of evidence where price will just float and then take off like this, like this, like this, like this. Do I need to say any more? Right? There, it's pretty solid that we could be looking at another buy. So I will get on the buy. probably get in somewhere in these wicks. I'd probably get in somewhere in this area here. I would set my stop loss below the ultimate low. I'll probably give myself a little bit more cushion, probably 30 pips. And then I would set my target based off the past. So again, if we look to the left, price had a history of at least coming to this area right here. Honestly, I would probably put it right here. And what kind of risk to reward is that, guys? It's a 3-to-1. So again, I can't stress enough, right? Just as a recap, support and resistance are absolute highest or lowest points of price at a specific price, right? That price can't break through. Supply and demand are areas. They're not just one price. It's an area where trades are collected, where a lot of retail traders would think that it's continuing on a buy or continuing on a sell, but it's actually just floating right there, right? And then once you find another confirmation where you have an engulfing candle or you have a morning star, evening star, if you guys like those candle formations or signals, use them. But I like just finding an engulfing candle. That's what I like to find. Once I find an engulfing candle, I'll look for a retest or price impulses and then retest back down and then continues, right? And if it's going to the downside, breaks down on an impulse and then retests and then comes down. That's what price likes to do. As you can see right here, price broke up, came back down to this area here. Now it's a new level of, you have a new level of support, demand, a new level of demand right here. And you collect your check. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and tap into the FTMO real quick. I know this video's been pretty long, so for those of you guys who are still watching, man, let me know where you're at. Are you in the U.S.? Are you in a different country? I know I got some people over in Brazil and then also in Africa that are watching, so I appreciate you guys watching the videos. I hope you guys are finding some value in them. Thank you for hitting that subscribe, like, and notification bell. I appreciate the love. So let's go ahead and show you guys my stats real quick and we'll wrap this up. All right. All right, so my end date is September 30th. As of right now, 113,266 bag. All right, so let's our pay ratio, so we're looking at about 92.86 in profit being wired to my account. Let's take a look at my consistency, right? Because I've been hearing a lot of noise from some people. Like they're trying to be nice about it, which I appreciate, but you still kind of talking that trash. So let's see my stats, and let's let the stats talk. I'm not gonna talk. Let's let the stats talk, right? So my win rate, 39%. My average risk to reward is a 2.5 to 1. So if I'm trading and I'm risking $1,000, my potential for reward is at least 2,500 bucks per trade. There was my average profit per trade. This was my average loss. Let's see. Yeah, so a lot of UST CAD guys, a lot of GBP AUD. Let's see. Move this over. So to start off, I was actually down. I was down like, I want to say, was I down 4,500 bucks? I guess I was down more than that. I was down like a little bit over five, right? Then I got four and a half back, 4,500 back, 4,600. Had a little bit of a shaky moment right here, a small one, and then boom, September 17th, 15,229. Collected a bag on USD CAD. September 17th. Uh, let's go to the next page. There it is, USD CAD. Once I find trades that are actually about to pay out, and I see that break and retest, I see that collection of trades, like, I'll stack in and put in a little bit more risk on the trade. And I'll talk about on another video on how I manage that risk. Because if I'm risking like 5% on a trade because I'm stacking the trades, then I'll make sure that I'll get out at like 1.5% loss, so that I'm not taking a fat slap on the wrist because I wanted to stack trades. I'll still stick to my discipline of how much money I want to lose at an in particular time. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'm 100% grateful and blessed that I'm able to make this money. And like I keep telling you, it's it's my job to share whatever knowledge that I have so that I can help that next guy or that next girl secure a bag, man, because the world it just keeps getting tougher. Jobs keep disappearing. I work in a tech company right now, and I'm sure a lot of you know technology is taking over the world. It's taking over people's jobs. And if you don't have a secondary skill that's helping you make an income, then you're one selling yourself short because I know you're capable of a lot more, but you're setting yourself up for failure because you have to understand and admit to yourself that the world is changing. So if you're not evolving and changing with it, then what are you doing? So at Global Cap FX, I want to create that platform where you can get rid of that uncertainty and confusion on how to day trade. And one day put yourself in a position to be self-sufficient and not have to count on that next educator to teach you how to trade. You already know how to do it. Technically and psychologically, you just got it handled. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, Josh at Global Cap FX. I will put it right there, Josh at Global Cap FX. My Instagram and my social media is down in the description as well. Thank you guys for jumping on this video, and I'll see you on the next one.